Tuesday, January 18th. It is 7:41 in the morning. It is about 44 degrees. And within 24 hours, guys, within 24 hours of right now, I will be basically 19 minutes away. I'll put it this way. In 24 hours and 19 minutes, I will be, starting my first day officially at Target. That's right. Within 24 hours, 19 minutes, I will be, or actually make it now 24 hours, 18 minutes, I will be working at Target. Basically, I'll be having my orientation there, and just afterwards go from there. I think I'll be getting my schedule, perhaps, and everything. Long story short, when they called me and they told me I was pretty much in, they said to the lady that the HR lady was, reporting to, and said that basically the schedule I put down, on the thing, put the schedule. And because here's what's funny: when you do these applications online, sometimes they'll give you two options. Like what's the earliest you can work and what's the latest. And what happened is I put 9 and I put 10, and they thought to myself, and when they talked to me, they said, well, it looks like it says 9 to 10, and that's only like an hour or 2 hours of work. What the heck? I was like, and that's when it dawned on me exactly what that meant. I was like, oh, well, because this is what I told them. I said, once they pointed that out to me, and, I was like, realization of what I did, I basically told them, well, I thought that meant, what's the earliest I can come in and what's the latest. And thankfully they, they were very understanding of, oh yeah, don't worry about that. We all make that kind of mistake, very understanding. But overall, she said that the hours worked out fine, that I could, work out, perfectly for them, to do whatever they need me to do. And mainly I'm going to be a front end person, just like I was at Walmart, or as they like to call it, a guest attendant. Different stores have, different wording for positions. But basically guest attendant, front end guest attendant is, you're not just, possibly working the front end, like stocking, reorganizing, doing carts and all that. But you're also mainly doing cashiering, of course, which I hope to do down the line before this year is out. But yeah, basically guest attendant is meaning, hey, you do everything. You do everything. It's not like, saying specifically, oh, you do this and you do that. No, it's like, hey, when you're a guest attendant, especially front end, you got to do all these kind of things. That's even, stand at the entranceway or in the middle, and alongside somebody else and check the receipt, just like they do at Walmart. But the thing is, you're not just limited, to one area. I'm not saying when I was at Walmart that we weren't limited in anything, but, they made it quite specific of what positions you were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, we have one guy that's still there. He loves to hug a lot of people, whether they want it or not, because I guess he's a very huggy person. And, he's front end, but he's not front end of, oh, he's a cashier as well. No, he's just carts. And he's good at it. Don't get me wrong. He's good at it. But his main priority is carts. Although they felt like they could bring him in and start training him on cashiering, make him do the CBLs, the tests and all that. And, just go from there. They can make him do that if they wanted to put him on cashiering. But, they can't, because I think they realize not only does he have, special needs, if you will, and I say that with all due respect, no offense, but they realize that he could be, the kind of person that basically, could, not only be friendly behind the cashier, or behind the, not cashier, but behind the register, if you will. Not only could he be someone friendly behind the register, but he could end up being too friendly, maybe to the discomfort of the customer. So I'm guessing that's why they haven't in the past year or so even attempted to say, hey, how would you like to do cashiering, if you know what I mean. So yeah, he's still outside doing cards and everything, even though he could have numerous opportunities to do more. Um, but again, I think they realize it's right now in the best interest that he just stays out there because not only is he good, but also the fact that because even if because of the fact of what I'm trying to say, and like I said, it was early, like I told you at the beginning, it's early. That's why I'm stumbling on my words. There you go. But mainly, like I said, even though he's been out there over a year and he's very good at what he does, very good at what he does, you know, they could have brought him in at any time to train him, right? But like I said, I think they realize it's in the best interest not to do that because of the way he is. And it might, cause, some customers to be very uncomfortable if you catch my drift. And by the way, guys, super chats are open and encouraged right now. I greatly appreciate it. Even before the day I start work, they are greatly appreciated. Hold on. Hello?
Okay, I'm here.
All right.
You're the only one here.
Okay.
After waiting, I gotta go to the bathroom really bad, so.
Okay.
Okay, Brian, I'm here, I'll call you on my lunch.
All right.
Do you see that bubble over there by where I sit? You see I put the Dolly Parton book there, but you could put it down again if you want. It's kind of wasted. That doesn't matter. Just kind of you'll see like a little bubble
Mm-hmm.
on the carpet over there by on the couch.
Yeah.
As you go forward, you're going to see it went down a little bit, but there's still a little bit more. That's okay. I'll just do it later on when I get home.
All right.
It's okay. I'll just do it before I go to bed again because it kind of helps.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Okay? Because then that book's on the floor. It's okay. I'll just do when I get home.
All right.
Got Bible study today, too.
Okay.
God bless you.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you do live streams. Believe me, I've watched a lot of live streams. From just Alex to JD to several others to where that will happen. You will have people basically come in. They will basically come in. Interrupted and say stuff. If you know what I mean. I don't know what Dolly Parton she's talking about. Dolly Parton book I gave her was right there, so I don't know if she forgot or something. I don't know. But anyway, what was I? Oh yeah. Like I said, super chats, are open and encouraged. I would greatly appreciate it, even the day before I start work. $2 to $5 at most, if that's all you can afford, would be greatly appreciated on the super chats or super stickers, if you will. $2 to $5, maybe even $1 if you want to do that, would be greatly appreciated, even on the day before I work, to help me out. So if you could do that, that'd be appreciative. But like I said, and again, I do apologize for that interruption. Like I said, my mom, she called me up, let me know she was at work. As you heard, she basically said she's got to use the facilities, and she's the only one there right now. You might be wondering, well, why didn't she, get there when everybody else does, like maybe 5 minutes before? Here's the thing. We live in Newman. Her job is at the midsection of the Bay Area, and Central Valley. And what I mean by midsection is the city she works in is right at the tail end of the Bay Area before you come into the Central Valley, like when you're heading to like Tracy and Modesto and all that. the city right before it is the tail end. The major city that is the tail end of the Bay Area, or at least one of the tail ends of the Bay Area. And so she's got to leave early. She left early today because she wasn't sure after this 3-day holiday whether or not traffic was going to, traffic was, going to, be a problem or anything like that. So, she didn't want to take that chance, if you will. But anyway, and I'm sorry for that. That's notifications here on my phone. But anyway, like I said, tomorrow I'll be starting work. My first day of orientation. Basically, I'll be there. Basically, my orientation, you look at the time here right now, and this is Pacific time. It'll be within 24 hours and 8 minutes that I'll be, going into work, starting my orientation, and then going from there. Now, they said they would let me know if they have to change it or anything, but hopefully not, because my screening passed, so I'm good to go there. And be honest, when I told my family, they were all happy for me, but they also kind of teased me a little bit, by saying, oh, don't do what you did before that got you released from your other job. And I'm like, I won't, because I've learned my lesson. And the other reason I won't even attempt to do something like that, period, is because unlike Walmart, they're more like, they will eye you. They have the eyes on you like a hawk kind of deal, when it comes to the front end. It doesn't matter if you're, it doesn't matter if you're an associate or if you're a customer. They have eyes on you like a hawk, if you know what I mean. Anyway, though, like I said, I'm going to be, like I said, starting tomorrow. And like I said, everybody was happy for me. Even my pastor was happy for me. Our friends at church were happy for me and everything. One of our friends was kind of like, kind of like curious, like, wait a minute, he's going to work at Turlock, well, that's what the location of the store is, Turlock. One of the locations in Turlock, if you will. Well, like I said, he was curious, like, wait a minute, he's going to be working there, and it's like, yeah, he's going to be working there. So it was kind of a surprise to them and everything, but it wasn't too bad. But overall, besides a little bit of surprise, to be like, because the thing is, this friend of ours at church used to do the bus, because he kind of knows, like, how, far, buses have to travel sometimes. And he used to be a school driver or a school bus driver. So he has a good understanding. So he was kind of surprised that I'd be doing that. But hey, I know the bus. I know how it works. And it's going to be a little tricky, like when coming back from there back here. It's going to be a little tricky, but I don't think it'll be that tricky. Because the way it's divided is, it basically, the schedule is like, it says, Patterson to Turlock, and then Turlock to Patterson. And it basically, the section that it divides at is one of its stops or one of its transfer points. And my assumption is one of those stops, transfer points, is either when you got to jump on one bus to the other, or you go into one of their stations. And when you go into one of their stations, that's when you switch over to the next bus or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how that works, unless that was a printing error on their end. I'm not really sure about that. I'll have to ask when I get on the bus tomorrow exactly, okay, what does this mean? It's like when you get to the golden part and everything, what does that mean? Do we switch buses? What's going on there, kind of deal. But yeah, basically, that'll be the only thing I have to look at. I don't think it'll be that hard to do, because if it's just, getting off a bus at a station or at a main base of theirs and getting onto another one, then that's fine with me. That's not a big deal. But besides that, overall, like I said, besides that, overall, I was just, glad to finally get a job. Like I said before, I did the higher view interview, with them. And the last time I did it was like about a month or two ago. Nothing happened there. And then I did it again this month, this past week, that is. And a few days later, I got the call. What was interesting is I applied at Rite Aid, but they never called me back. And even though I saw some numbers popping up on my phone, it seemed like they could be from around here. None of them said Rite Aid, and none of them left a message, which was weird, if you know what I mean. And you would think they would like somebody like me that's in town that's convenient to come in when they need me to. But they didn't. Anyway, long story short, I finally got work there. But not there, but long story short, I'm happy to finally get work, somewhere, and that being, of course, Target, which honestly was like the main, target for me, coin the phrase, the main objective for the next destination of employment. And when it finally happened, it's like my dad said when I told him. He said persistence pays off because, in a sense, my mom kind of agreed with that. Yeah, believe it or not, two parents that are divorced, agreeing that, yeah, it paid off. But, yeah, finally it's going to happen. I'm going to work there. And I think what it is with a lot of these retail stores is, the reason they like to hire outside of, they'll hire within town, there's no doubt. When I started at Walmart in Patterson, they were happy to have someone local. Everybody else was local there, but as well. But, I think they were just happy to have someone that, hey, he's right here. They look at the address and like, oh, shoot, that person's right there. He could be here at any time. When we need him. And there you go. Anyway, though, long story short, like you said, long story short, it just works out conveniently. It just works out very conveniently that I'm going to be able to work like this. But like I said, I think what they find appealing about it is, as I was trying to say, I think what they find appealing about it is that people, because one of the things they always ask is, do you have transportation, right? And most times people will say, yeah, I got my own transportation, I got my car, here's my license, right? Or they will ask, hey, do you have, when they ask transportation, sometimes, people like myself will come out and say, yeah, I take the bus. And guess what? That won't be, obviously, an issue with them whatsoever. They'll be like, oh, cool. Like, oh, cool, that worked out fine. That worked out fine for us. So, like I said, they, they're cool with that. And I think the reason they're cool with that is, they realize, oh, wait a minute, he takes the bus. Oh, he or she takes the bus. That means that works out perfectly because, when I looked online to see where the bus stopped, right? Because there's a bus stop around there. When I looked online on Google Maps, I noticed, that one of the pictures taken was where the bus stops at. And the bus stop is literally, and this is the honest truth, literally, right in front of the store. Yeah, it's like, for example, it's like, okay, let me see if I can try to exemplify this. It's like, okay, let me see if I can do this. It's like, okay, here's this plant, right? Here's this plant that my mom has, okay? So here's the bus stop, and then as we're walking, here's the store. Like right where this Christmas decoration is that she keeps up for she's gonna keep up for a little longer. You know, it's like here where this plant is, right here, all the way up to this Christmas decoration she got at Rite Aid, if you will. That's where the bus. That's where basically how far the store is from the bus stop. In other words, once I get off the bus stop, all I have to do is walk across the parking lot over here to the store. And what's convenient about that, like I said, is not only will I walk like from the bus stop, all the way up to where the store is, for example, where this little Christmas decoration is. But what's convenient about it is right next to the bus stop is like right next to the bus stop. Like here's the bus stop, right here in the middle, if you will, almost where that Pasetta is. But right here in the middle is a McDonald's. Okay, well I'll put it this way. It's like right here is right here is my brain just went blank here. Right here is the bus stop. Right next to it, McDonald's. And then on the other side, which could be, let's say, like right here, El Pollo Loco. Yeah, El Pollo Loco is right there, and that's convenient. That is absolutely convenient when you think about it. Absolutely convenient. And to me, I don't think you could ask for a better opportunity and a better atmosphere. Well, I wouldn't just say atmosphere, but better opportunity, better what's the word I'm looking for? Better God, trying to think of the word here. I also gotta let my dog out now because she's gotta go potty. Hold on. I gotta get my slippers or my sandals anyway. Better convenience. That's the one I'm looking for. You can't think of a better convenient, convenient. You can't think of a better convenient workout, if you will, or better convenience of things working out, if you will, than that. You can't think of a better situation working out than that. That, not only do I catch the bus here, then transfer in Patterson, head to Turlock, but the bus stop that I need to get off of is right there in front of the store. Can't think of a better situation overall, if you will. Can't think of a better situation. And again, guys, super chats are open and encouraged, as well as super stickers, $1 to $5 if you wanted to help, donate that. It'd be greatly appreciated, especially here on the morning before I start work tomorrow in the next 24 hours. Be greatly appreciated. Thank you if you do that. Like I say, greatly appreciated. But yeah, basically, it just works out perfectly. It just works out perfectly because, again, I go over here in this directive. That's my bus. That's why, that's the bus area where I get picked up at. And then from there, I go and take the bus to Patterson. And then from Patterson, transfer over to another bus for Turlock, and then go from there. So it works out, like I said, it works out very, very conveniently. And the bus stop, like I said, it's like right there. It's right there, to drop me off, so I can just literally walk across to my job and clock it, get there, clock in, and get to work for whatever they need me to do as a guest attendant, But yeah, I was really happy for this to finally happen, this opportunity to approach me. And she said basically that, I just need to get a red shirt or a red t-shirt or something like that. She said jeans were fine and everything as far as I know. So I ended up getting a red shirt, two of them at least, from my old job at Walmart. So I ended up getting two of those. And like I said, she basically stated that jeans were fine, jeans were appropriate, khakis maybe as well. They'll let me know. They'll let me basically know the whole 9 yards, if you will. I mean, I got most of the information with me, and that's another notification. I do apologize for that. But I got most of the information I need to make sure I get what I need or have what I need on me. I think the reason they say, hey, khakis are, not khakis, but jeans are all right, and I have plenty of jeans. I just got to wash them today and let them dry, if you will. But the reason they say jeans are appropriate, no holes or anything like that, which I understand because that's what they told me at Walmart. But the reason they say jeans or, khaki, slacks, or whatever are good, or mostly jeans, is because they want you to feel comfortable like your first day there or something as well. And again, I do have slacks basically if I need to use them. I have slacks basically if I need to use them. Like I think I have some, like right here, I think, yeah, I have these right here if I have to use them. But, I have jeans like this, which, look fine and everything. I have jeans like that, to where I can wear those and I don't think it'll be a problem because, over time, jeans do wear out a little bit, or jeans and khakis, do wear out. So, they got to expect that, which I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do expect that. But I'm always going to be like, prepared. I'm always going to have something, on the fly, if you will, to wear that's appropriate, for work and everything. But yeah, besides that, I'm just glad and happy for it and everything. And everybody, like I said, everybody in my family is happy about it. What's interesting is when I told everybody that I got this job, I found out that I have two second cousins, if you will, that work at Target as well. One from my cousin who's about half a year older than me because he was born in November of '78. So basically he's about, basically, I would say not, let's see, November, let's see the 1st, the 6th, and 7 months, December is 8. He's basically about 9 months older than me. He's about 9 months older than me, so a little over half a year. He's just 9 months older than me. And his son works at the location where they live, which is Modesto. And then my cousin, who's 10 years older than me, her daughter works at the one where they live in Florida. So, very interesting, if you will, very intriguing that, I'll be the third family member, currently to be working at Target. My second oldest sister, I should say, used to work at Target. I don't know what happened there or something. I guess she just felt like she wasn't getting any hours, or I think she might have been maybe expecting or something. I'm not really sure, so she couldn't, really do too much or something. I don't really know. I do know that her friend who shares the same name as she does worked at Target. I don't know if she still does to an extent, but she used to. But and if she still does, then hey, that's another person I can connect with. Even though she works at one of the locations in the same city as my cousin's son, here in California. But yeah, just very, very surprising to me to know that I'm not going to be alone, family wise, blood wise, if you will, family wise, blood wise, when it comes to working for the red and white. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of convenient. And I know I've been using the word convenient a lot. I do apologize. Like I said, it's early. But like I said, that's kind of cool, convenient, and helpful in a sense. It's helpful because, you know, we don't know what's up the road, as the old saying goes. For all me and my mom know down the line, we may decide, okay, we're done with California, we're going to move to Florida, and that could happen. I'm not saying it will, if ever, but if something like that was to come up, there you go. You know, we could move to Florida, maybe move into the same town as my cousin. There you go. But again, I'm not saying that would ever happen at all. It's just I'm giving you an example of, the convenientness and the helpfulness that may present in the near future. That may, help me out in the future. Help me out down the line. But yeah, it's tremendously great, and what's even more convenient, or more helpful and convenient to an extent, is one of our church friends who wasn't there on Sunday due to the fact that she was sick, which is apparently not because of COVID, but maybe the flu or something like that, because of that time of year. She said that she has a daughter or a niece that works there, and what's going to be convenient about that is when I start working there, I don't know if I'll be working at the same time she is, but if she hears my name, and if she hears my name and all that, she's probably going to be like, she'll probably look at me and be like, are you the person that my mom, my aunt, knows of, and from Adventure Christian? I'll be like, yeah. And if that happens, that happens. Don't know. But it's gonna be a unique. It's gonna be a very unique new experience overall for me when I start tomorrow. I mean, as soon as my alarm went off this morning, I already got it set for about 4:25, maybe 4:20. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna probably set this like I told myself earlier, I'm probably gonna set this for maybe 5 minutes earlier too, the phone, so that I have two methods of getting up. Because what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to get up, make sure our dog goes to the bathroom, if you will, but also I'm gonna have to put down the pads. You see, whenever my mom and I are out for a while, we usually put the pads down for our dog because we don't know how long we're gonna be gone, and we don't know whether or not she's gonna have an accident, especially because she's getting older. So we don't want to take any chances. And what we do is we put the pads down, all over the house. The guest room, her room, my room, at least the first couple of steps, the living room, the hold on for a second. Let me give me some coffee, guys. Like I said, it's early. I'm still waking up. But like I said, we put them down all over the house, basically her room, my room, or at least the beginning of my room, the entire guest room, the hallway, the living room, as well as the, exit to the outside of the kitchen here. We put the pads down like on these two mats because it leads to the door. And then, like I said, we do the living room, we do the hallway, my room, at least the beginning, like when you come into the room, and as well as the entire guest room, all of my mom's room and everything, just so that if she does have an accident, and she can't hold it, or she can't find one of us to let her out, she'll have a place to go, without a problem, and all we have to do is just scoop it up. Just scoop it up, I should say, with the mat. A good example of that was about a week ago when suddenly she just had an accident in my room. We don't know if maybe we gave her too many peanuts. I don't think that was it, because she's never had that problem before. Our assumption is it's the weather, because the weather will affect not just, humans, but animals certain ways. So we're guessing it was the weather because, like I said, it was, the weather was kind of like up and down a little bit. Like it would be warm. Like it looks like it's going to be nice today. It's going to be warm today, but then it will get cold, and that kind of affects the body. So I'm assuming that because maybe she had one too many peanuts, maybe, or something like that, something didn't agree with her, and she just had to go, right? So so I let her out, and let her go regularly, and then all of a sudden, it's like not even a few moments later, she went back out again and did it again, and then that's when I heard a certain, sound that kind of told me, oh, she's gonna have to go a lot. And then what happened after I, brought it back in because I heard that sound, I went to under my sink because I have two pads saved up, 2 or 3 pads saved up, and I put them down in my room. And not even moments after I do that, and I shut my door because so I can have a little privacy, give my mom a little privacy and all that. Not even a few moments after that happens, all of a sudden she has to get up and go again, and next thing I know, she can't hold it, and then Squirt City. But fortunately, I had the mat there, and all I had to do was pick it up, and take it outside. I had to just pick it up, take it outside, throw it away, which was convenient. It didn't leave a mess, nothing dripped. And I know that sounds a little disgusting, I do apologize. But like I said, nothing dripped or anything. It was just, it went on the mat. She knew where to go. She knew, basically it was on the mat because she knew where to go there. I just picked it up like that and took it, went outside, threw it away in the trash. And the rest is history. If you will, the rest is history. But yeah, basically, that's basically going to be the plan depending on the situation, the schedule, and all that, which sounds like it's going to be mostly during the day, thank God, if that is, if that's the case, which it should be. But yeah, it's going to be, basically that's going to be the plan to where, to where I put the mats down all across the living room, the entrance way, if you will, on the mats before you go outside to the back, the guest rooms, my room, at least the first part of it right there, and of course my mom's room, so that we have everything in the hallway here, so that we have everything covered. But yeah, I'm just happy, like I said, to finally have a job and everything. Just finally happy to have a job after quite a while. And I know some of you might ask, well, what happened to Dollar Tree? Well, again, as I've mentioned before, Dollar Tree I thought was going to be good, even though it was seasonal. But it just didn't work out. Let me explain. You see, the first day I was there, I did the orientation. Here's the thing. First day I was there, we didn't have an orientation because it was just me. So I did what was the equivalent of CBLs. I did the equivalent of, watching videos, for assessment, tests, whatever. I did all that, okay? I did all that. And everything looked fine. And then the internet went down. And this was a week before they had to remove a lot of these tests and CBL, this was basically about a week before they had to remove a lot of these CBL like tests and everything. They had to remove it all all due to, I guess, the year ending and all that. I don't know. So they had to remove all of that, right? So the internet went down. So I had to spend the next, I would say, hour and a half helping them out with removing price stickers because they were going from $1 to $1.25. I'm sure you've heard of that. And then afterwards, I went home, thinking, okay, they'll let me, thinking I'm gonna have something, some kind of employment here. And she said she'd call me back. Well, she did. And she said, come back in on such day, which was a Tuesday, I think, to finish up the video testing, which went which honestly was one of the longest video testings, guys. One of the longest video testings, and I do apologize for the notification showing up. But like I said, it was one of the longest video testings or video traumatizations for introduction to Dollar Tree that I'd ever seen, or to any company I'd ever seen. Maybe not so much compared to maybe tomorrow, from what I'm hearing, which is a good thing. At least it shows that you're willing to. It shows you're willing to watch any length of video you need, or you need to learn how things are run there. If you catch my drift. But anyway, though, like I said, it was one of the longest. Let me get some coffee here. One of the longest, I should say, video dramatizations for introduction to work that I'd ever seen. And it was mostly because of it was mostly based around sexual harassment, which, again, I said this before, I think it's a great thing that any job is doing this. I think it's a great thing that they are touching upon this, because it is wrong. It is, very wrong, basically, for any kind of sexual harassment at any workplace to take part, to be, to happen in. Because you shouldn't have to be, teased. You shouldn't have to be insulted. You shouldn't have to be manipulated, to get an opportunity to, be promoted, to the next level, or get an opportunity to have your work recognized and maybe have you recommended for a new position, if you know what I mean. So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad basically that a lot of jobs have these video dramatizations to help prevent sexual harassment of any kind. I do like it. I just don't expect it to be so long like this was, if you know what I mean. But hey, it's worth it. In the end, it's worth it because you learn some stuff, and the more you learn, the more you're able to apply that to not just the job you're going to be at, hopefully, but at future jobs. And if that's not enough, and I should shut that window just a bit. I'm not saying I'm doing anything wrong, but the sun's reflecting on my grandparents' picture just a bit. You don't want that happening. But anyway, though, like I said, and looks like it's reflecting on my grandma's a little bit more. But like I said, I'm glad they have these kind of tests out there, if you know what I mean. I'm kind of glad for that. I guess it's going to reflect no matter what, but get a little bit of light in there. There we go. But like I said, I'm kind of glad that they have these kind of tests and everything. But getting back on topic here, the thing is, I was brought back in to watch that, and then they told me afterwards, and his thing, the girl that's the store manager was not there. The assistant manager was. And she told the assistant manager, hey, basically when he gets in there, do what you got to do with him, and that's it. And she just told me, do this, and you're out, and that's it. And that's what I did. I did the video. I watched the video, took my break, and then that was it. I was out. you know. And then what happened next was a couple of days later, I get a call to come in, but I can't because one, it's at the last minute, and two, the bus basically that I would take, it's already passed. So me being me and not thinking straight because it was still, or it was about around, I would say 10 or so. And even though I was awake, you're still technically waking up, like, I'm thinking things through. So me being me, I told her, hey, if you need me to come in later, I can come in later. And guess what I stupidly said? And guess, what I'm trying to say is, and again, see what I'm talking about being early and doing, trying to still wake up. So, me, like I said, still kind of waking up, even though I've been awake for about 2 hours or so, an hour and a half. Me, being me and not fully understanding what I was about to say, I told her, hey, if you need me to come in later, I will. So guess what happens after my mom calls to check in, right? Guess what happens? The store manager calls me back up and says, hey, can you be here at this time? And I was like, hey, no problem, I can be there. Guess what? Guess what? So I go to check the bus schedule thinking, okay, I can get a bus here, right? The bus had already passed. I mean, I basically was still in my jammies and everything, and I needed to get myself ready. And by the time I would have gone out the door, the bus would have already been gone. So it wasn't going to work. So I figured, okay, let me see if I could try a dollar ride. Let me see if I could try a dollar ride. But then I realized, well, wait a minute. The buses last month were running for free because it was the end of the month and, of course, the whole situation with COVID and Omicron, whatever. So I figured, okay, would dial a ride be free? Would they be the same? Would they be, allowing people to ride for free once they call them up? Because if so, there's no way I'm going to be able to get a ride because it'll be like too crowded. Maybe. Who knows? So I decided to call up Uber and Lyft. Well, not call them up, but use the app to schedule a pickup, right? Guess what happened? So I try Uber, and I get my time set, and just when the time it looks like they're going to come pick me up, that's when the app tells me, oh, we're locating somebody in your facility or in your region at the time they're supposed to pick me up. So that didn't work out. So I tried Lyft, thinking that will work. That didn't work out either because they did the same thing. Oh, we're finding somebody in your region at the time they're supposed to pick you up. So I had to call her and tell her, I couldn't make it and everything. And she was not happy, of course, or she was not happy. But the way she made her unhappiness sound was, well, don't make promises you can't keep and everything. And I was like, well, okay, I'm sorry, I'll talk to you later, bye. And she's like, yeah, bye. And she's like, okay, bye. And that's it, right? So what I do afterwards is I get back on the phone, I call her cell, because that's where she called me from. And when you call somebody to call in, and I think that was a mistake on her part too, when you call somebody to come in, you should be using the store's phone, not yours. I think that was the mistake she made. Use the store phone, not yours. And also, don't call when you're in the middle of a conference call or whatever it was, right? So anyway, getting back on topic, I call her back up on the cell, apologize for letting her down. I humble myself because God always says you should humble yourself in front of you, and you should humble yourself, if you will. God always teaches us you need to humble yourself, and that's what I did. I humbled myself. I apologized. I apologize for not being able to keep my promise, and that if she still needs me to work, I'd be greatly appreciative of it. Yada yada yada. So I humbled myself. I was the bigger person, and then on top of that, I went and took the bus there at about 3. And I wanted to talk to her, see if maybe she'd want me to work at that time, or at least for a couple of hours. She wasn't there. The assistant manager was. And even though she was a little bit more understanding, obviously you could tell she was overwhelmed. And, even though I tried to leave like the bus schedule with them so they could see exactly what, I have to deal with, that they have to work with, she said, oh, don't leave that here, take that with you. So I did. And guess what? I haven't heard back from them since. That's right, I have not heard back from them since. I've not heard back from them when it comes to, her responding to my apology. I haven't heard back from them, when it comes to wanting me to work again. I haven't heard, period. And I think my name is still on the schedule. It's still on the employment line. My name is still under the employment. But yet they've not called me. And, basically when I told my family everything that went down, even my family was like, well, why even put a hiring event to go? It's like, basically my older sister, who had suggested Dollar Tree, and I greatly appreciate and love her for that, was surprised and disappointed. My second older sister, same way. My niece, my only niece, my oldest, basically my only, she's not my only niece, but she's I'll put it this way, my niece, basically the mother of my great niece, that is, even she was upset. Even her fiance was like, what the heck? And then my oldest nephew and his fiance were like, huh? They couldn't get it. They couldn't understand it. I mean, my oldest sister was like, why even hire people if you're going, why even hire people or even advertise you're hiring people if you're not going to use them? And it just didn't make sense. Didn't make sense because, they're saying, oh, we're hiring and everything, and then they're not. And what's interesting, as soon as you walk in the store, it's like okay, you're walking in, right? Okay, I'll put it this way. It's like you're walking in, and right here they have a table, and they have they have a piece of paper there, and on the bottom of the paper, it's all kind of cut a little bit, cut up into like little tags, little flyers that you can pull off, you could tear off yourself when you walk in, and it shows you that they're hiring. And the moment I walked in there, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, that's kind of weird, but I didn't think too much of it. But then, after they hired me and a few others, or hired me only, that's when all of a sudden it's like they took the hiring sign out. And it's like I couldn't understand what was going on, right? So here's what's interesting about this. Even though some of the people I was working with were cool people, they were cool people and everything, and they were young too. So that's convenient. I know I've been using that word a lot here, but that's kind of convenient. Even though they were young themselves, if you will, they were very nice, very respectful. But like I said, they were very nice, very respectful. But you could tell in a sense that they weren't, that even though they were happy to be employed, there was just something there that they felt just did not connect with them. It just did not, connect with them whatsoever. I mean, one of the people I worked with temporarily said that he was, on the road coming back from Odessa when he got the call to come in on a day that he wasn't supposed to come in till later or something like that. And it's like, why are you calling him in now if you know he's supposed to come in later? Why didn't you let him know about this when you hired that, hey, we may need you to come in early, so always have yourself ready or something like that. Why not say that? It just it just did not make any sense, whatsoever. It just did not make sense, period. But yeah, it was like overall, it's just a situation that just did not work out. It just did not work out. And what's interesting though is, like I said, the communication between them and any employee. And get this, a lot of people at church, have said that they have heard stuff about Dollar Tree, there in Patterson. Like something is amiss. Something is not connecting, right? They even stated, that they felt something was off. Like they walk in there and it's like, okay, it's nice and convenient that all this stuff is there for people to buy, last minute and everything. But it still felt like something was just amiss, like something just wasn't there, and there was another notification. But like they said, it felt like something was amiss, like something just, was, it's like, it's like, what's that old saying? It's like, the lights are on, nobody's home kind of deal. Or it's like, it's like that one line, the guy that portrayed Ray Finkel's father in the first Ace Ventura movie said, about his wife. When she would say, "Oh, Ray's going to be home any minute," and he has to correct that. He says, "She thinks he's going to be home any minute," and then he follows it up by saying, "You see, sees the motor's running, but there's no one behind the wheel, if you will." And basically, he's saying that, hey, the motor's running, the car is driving, but nobody's behind the wheel to steer it in the right direction. And that's essentially that saying that guy did in Ace Ventura when he said the motor's running, but there's no one behind the wheel. That's kind of that's kind of the feeling you get, and that others at my church would describe that Dollar Tree in Patterson is like, its motor's running, but there's nobody behind the wheel. There's no one, it's like the car's driving, it's driving, but it's not driving in a straight line, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, that's basically an example of why. So, yeah, basically that. So when you hear stuff like that, I should say, on top of the fact of, I tried humbling myself so I could at least continue working there, but not getting any answer back, just shows you that it's basically it's basically a store that's like a chicken running around with its head cut off, or it's a car that's erratically driving because nobody's behind the wheel, or it's a train basically running out of control on a track because there's no engineer, there's no train engineer, in front to control it, to run the controls. Or it's like basically it's like basically putting a wolf in charge of the hen house. It's like something is amiss, something's just not right. And so basically, I ended up looking for employment elsewhere, and fortunately, I found that employment, thank the Lord, with Target. I tried with Rite Aid, didn't work out because, again, they would think conveniently I'm down the street, I could be there for them. Just didn't work out there, that's fine. Nob Hill, even before Dollar Tree called me, looked like it could be something in Patterson. Did not work there, if you will, because I think they need people to work certain hours or something. But thankfully, Target came through, and I praise God for that through and through. I really do. But yeah, it's just all this to get employment again. And I know people will say, well, if you didn't do what you did, even though it was, not as bad as like stealing a stereo or stealing a TV or this or that, even though it wasn't, on those levels, it's still something I shouldn't have done. The stealing, taking the soda and a few snacks here and there kind of deal. Because eventually it did catch up. It did catch up, but here's the thing. And hopefully they have addressed this, because of this one thing I'll say about Walmart is that at least they learned from their mistakes. That when it happened, when I started doing it, they never said anything, because I think some of them realized, yeah, it was wrong for me to do, and I asked God to forgive me for doing it because I knew it was wrong myself. But I think they realized, there's nothing really wrong with it because, it's a loss. It's a loss for the store, but basically, it's meaningless when it comes to like bigger items, if you know what I mean. It's meaningless. But anyway, though, like I said, I know people will point that out to me, and maybe, and here's the thing, maybe when I really think about it, when you really think about it, maybe it wasn't just going to be that. Maybe it was going to be the fact that, they would probably let me go eventually down the line anyway. Like maybe they just, needed to clear out the inventory or something like that. I don't know. It's like mom, it's like, the old saying goes, it's like my mom, well, not an old saying, but it's like that saying goes, God has a reason for everything happening because God has a plan for you, down the line. And whatever happens is part of his plan for you. And me being let go the way I was part of his plan, if you will. But what's convenient is now they still have a connection to me because my nephew, my second oldest nephew, works for them in the same position I was in, that being up front as a cashier. So he works for them now. They know who he is, so that when they see him, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Brian's nephew." So basically I still have ties to them and everything, which is cool and everything. They're always glad to see me when I get in there, or when I walk in. They're always glad to see me. And believe it or not, one of them that I'm good friends with there, she was happy that I got work with the red and the white, because she says, "Hey, I go over there sometimes to shop as well." So it kind of works out in the end too, that I might see people from here over there shopping, if you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, it was just a tremendous opportunity to finally get. And, over the past, and besides that, even though it was a tremendous opportunity, it also kind of motivated me, and even though me and my mom already had this plan, it motivated me to basically get up on Saturday, before she did, and finally, start taking down the decorations around here. Like, I took down the decorations on the windows, the cross and the star, and the little major scene that, you have to put a battery in to the back to light up the star. So I did that, and then I took the chimney thing we had right here, put that back, and I did both those things without waking her up, believe it or not. I did both those things without waking her up. And then after that, after she did wake up and everything, and, we let the hours go by a little bit, I decided to basically start taking the tree down. And the best convenient time I saw to take it down was when the Raiders were playing against the Bengals, which unfortunately they lost in the wild card. But still, it was a game we were watching, because even though they're Las Vegas, we still kind of support them because they have their ties to the Bay Area. My grandpa used to like them, and have a cousin or two that like them as well. So there is that. But anyway, yeah, we took down, I took down the tree and everything, and, went from, like I said, I took down the tree and everything, went from there, if you will, just went from there and everything. Was able to finally put some of the movies back to where they were, without having them hidden. So there's movies here. I have to probably rearrange them later, so that there's some out and exposed that my mom can, get her hands on if she wants to watch them. So did that, and like I said, we did that. I did that and everything. And then yesterday I took the little carousel here that she had here, put that back as well. The only things we've kept out so far are the manger and the little Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but we'll probably put those away within the week. She likes to keep out a little Christmas here and there, because I think, like a lot of people, even myself, she feels like it just comes and goes too quickly. But also the fact that, she found out, like I did, because I was watching it online last week, she found out that Christmas technically is not really over in certain parts of not just the world, but here in California. Because there's different religions and beliefs that still carry Christmas, up until a certain time, or celebrate Christmas at a certain time. And, in the new year, and then, it's over. So, that's why I think you see a lot of people keeping the Christmas decorations up and everything, and until a certain time, until a certain time frame, and then they start taking them down. Overall though, that's kind of what we did, and that's really about it. I mean, not really much to say after that. Again, we did watch the playoff games, most of them. We watched the 49ers win in a good game, watched the Chiefs win in a pretty much a blowout, almost. And then, of course, concluded that with the Rams blowing out Arizona. And in Tampa Bay, they blew out Philadelphia. I mean, there were some close games, and then there were some blowouts. So let's just be honest. Because, again, you're going up against players like the Tampa Bay, you're going up against Brady and Gronk, come on. As good as you might be, when it comes to playoffs, somehow Brady's just like, he turns it up a notch, you know what I'm saying? But basically, this is what the playoffs look like now. You might be wondering what the lines are. Well, the lines basically tell you exactly, who's heading where. Like, here you have, Buffalo right here. They're going to the Chiefs. Bengals are going to Tennessee, if you will. San Francisco's going to Green Bay, and the Rams are going to Tampa Bay. So basically what you will have in the long run is this. You will have the winner of Buffalo, Kansas City take on the winner of Cincinnati, Tennessee. So if Buffalo and Cincinnati want to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to remain on the road. And San Francisco, same thing. If San Francisco wants to get back to the Super Bowl, they got to remain on the road as well, because not only would they have to, win at Green Bay to keep the hopes alive, which, I believe they have a good chance of doing, but then they either got to go to Tampa Bay or back to Los Angeles or SoFi. So they got to stay on the road. And like I said, with Buffalo and Cincinnati, they got to remain on the road because, if Buffalo gets by Kansas City and Tennessee beats Cincinnati, then, Buffalo goes to Cincinnati. Buffalo goes to Tennessee, I should say. Buffalo goes to Tennessee. Now, if Cincinnati beats Tennessee, then there is a good chance, I believe, because of the way the seedings were, that Buffalo will host an AFC Championship game if they get by the Chiefs and Cincinnati gets by Tennessee. That's right. See, Cincinnati, like San Francisco, will be the only team that has to remain on the road. They only had one playoff game. This is why they were promoting it so highly on Saturday, as being something historic if Cincinnati was able to pull it off, which they did. Because they realized that Cincinnati's journey to the Super Bowl is going to be one that goes now on the road. Like, again, it doesn't matter who wins in the next round. And, after them, if they beat, Tennessee, because they have to, basically keep, on the road after that. So they got to go to Tennessee, that being the Bengals. And then if they beat Tennessee, they're either going to go to Kansas City or Buffalo. End of discussion. End of discussion right there. They either go to Buffalo or Kansas City. That's it. But again, they could end up in Kansas City if they beat Tennessee. Buffalo, like I said, may have to do just one road game, if the stars align, if you know what I mean, before they head home for an AFC championship. Kansas City can have home field advantage for the rest of the playoffs if Tennessee loses to Cincinnati and Kansas City beats Buffalo. So here's the scenario how it works out for anybody that's kind of new to the system. Tennessee, and there's some notifications right there. I do apologize. Tennessee basically is the home field. Is the team that has home field advantage, number 1 seed. So every team right now has to go through them. That's the projection of going through them. Now, if Tennessee loses to Cincinnati, then the next team that would potentially have home field advantage would be Kansas City or Buffalo. That's right. Because if Cincinnati beats Tennessee, then not only would Kansas City and Buffalo be fighting to advance to the AFC Championship game, but both of them would be fighting for that home field advantage in that game to basically host the AFC Championship. That's how it would work out. So Cincinnati, has to hope for the stars to align for them to, at least stay on the road, or at least still have a chance and everything. But Buffalo and Kansas City, mostly Buffalo, would have to hope for those same stars to align so that they could host the AFC Championship against the Bengals. So Cincinnati and Buffalo have to pray and hope, fans especially, that things work out in that directive, in that favor. Same thing on the NFC side. San Francisco is going to be an on-the-road team for most of the playoffs. And they beat Green Bay, then the next destination would be Tampa Bay or Los Angeles. And just like I said, with Kansas City and Buffalo on the AFC side, if the 49ers beat the Packers, then the Rams and the Buccaneers wouldn't just be fighting for an opportunity to be in the NFC Championship game, but they'd be fighting for an opportunity to host it. So there's that. So there's that, if you will. But if San Francisco doesn't beat Green Bay, then Tampa Bay or Los Angeles goes to Green Bay. End of story. Pretty much. So, yeah, basically, this is the way you look at it. If you are a Los Angeles Rams fan and a 49er fan, you got to hope for the stars to align so that LA, has one more shot to just stay home. Because LA could end up doing what Tampa Bay did. And that's being the second team in history to host and to basically play a Super Bowl in the home stadium. Basically have that home field advantage. In other words, have a home game that's basically the biggest game of the NFL season. They need to hope for that. They need to hope that happens, if you know what I mean. San Francisco needs to hope, that, not only do they win against Green Bay, and everything, but they gotta, if they want that rematch against the Rams, and the Rams, same thing, they gotta hope both ends of the spectrum that the stars align. Again, same with Cincinnati and Buffalo on the AFC side. Buffalo has got to hope they beat Kansas City and that Cincinnati beats Tennessee so that Buffalo has a chance to host the AFC Championship game. And basically, Los Angeles has to hope they beat Tampa Bay Well, they also hope that San Francisco beats Green Bay so they can host the NFC Championship game and again be one step closer to being the second team ever to host the Super Bowl on their home turf. I know it sounds complicated, but that's basically it. It's basically it. Right now, the projection to the Super Bowl goes through Nashville and Green Bay on both sides. That's what it goes through. It goes through, Nashville and Green Bay. However, again, things could change. Things could change because, if certain things happen, it'll right now it's projected to go through Tennessee on the AFC side and Green Bay on the NFC side. But if certain things happen, it could end up going through Kansas City or Buffalo on the AFC side. And then on the NFC side, it could end up going through Tampa Bay or Los Angeles. That's about it. So yeah, one way or another, if you're a fan of the Bills, because I'll look at it this way: it doesn't matter how it all, it doesn't matter basically how the two teams or how the AFC champion and NFC champion are determined to meet up in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter how it's done. It doesn't matter what teams advance and take that one step closer. But if you're a Bills fan, you got to hope for the Bengals to win so that if you beat Kansas City, you're hosting the AFC Championship. And that if you, on the NFC side, if you're a Rams fan, you hope that the 49ers beat Green Bay. You do your best to beat Tampa Bay so that you can host the NFC Championship and have one step closer to just basically having, a mostly home fielded advantage throughout the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. That's about it. That's about it. So, again, if you're a Bengals-Bills fan, you got to, along with the 49ers and Rams fans, you got to hope the stars align so that basically, if you're Buffalo, if you're a Bills fan, you have the AFC title game at home, and if you're a Rams fan, you have the NFC title game at home. Basically, that's about it. That's the scenario, if you will. Because if not, you're either going to go through Tennessee or Kansas City on the AFC side, or you're going to go through Green Bay or Tampa Bay on the NFC side. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the scenario. So, yeah, like I said, I know I went a little bit of a tangent there. I do apologize. But, yeah, that's basically how it is. It's, slight chance Buffalo hosts an AFC championship. Slight chance LA Rams host it. But a majority of the road to the Super Bowl goes to either Tennessee or Kansas City or Green Bay, Tampa Bay. And that's basically how you look at it. But overall, yeah, like I said, we were watching the playoffs when I was taking down the tree and everything, and that was about it. Almost broke an ornament here and there, but thankfully nothing really was damaged. If anything, there's that kind of glue that they have out there that you could apply to your ornaments when they get damaged, the symmetric glue or something like that, crementic glue. But yeah, though, we took it down, and now things are kind of like back to normal for at least another 10 months, if you know what I mean, because of course in 10 months it all goes back up again. And this time around, though, I am making a promise that on my day off, because I do plan to work there for a long time, for quite some time, that on my day off, I'll be setting up the tree and everything, so that way, we get that out of the way almost immediately after Halloween. I'm not saying it'll be the day after, but I'm saying it's going to be basically a lot sooner than it was this year. Oh, this past year, I'll put it that way. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here, guys, and do the vlog let you know about, give you more further information about me getting the job at Target, and everything, and, how things just came about, how it all worked out in this situation. And really, that's about it. That's about it, guys. So, thank you all for tuning in early. I really appreciate it. I will agree with one person that commented here on the live chat, which, by the way, before I close up, I do want to remind you, super chats are open and super stickers are open. If you can just do $1 to $5, that'd be greatly appreciated, especially on the day before I start work at Target. I would really appreciate it, and be very thankful to you guys in the future. But like I said, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like I said, I just wanted to come on here, do this vlog, kind of let you guys know, that I got the job, and how things just, turned out the way they did. They just turned out, the way they did. How things just worked out in a way that seemed just crazy. It's like, you couldn't, describe what was happening here or there or not. It's just crazy. But anyway, though, guys, that's all I'm going to say. My battery's about to die here because I've been doing this for almost 80 minutes. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. A live chat during the premiere. Like the video. You did live chat during the premiere, but like the stream. Check out the Teespring store, Venmo, and all that, as I've mentioned it all before. And I will talk to you all later. You all have a good day. I got to let my battery charge.